Breaking news! 2 unexpected moves. It was enough to completely change the energy surrounding the Cleveland Browns this week. No flashy, blockbuster trades, no first-round draft spree, just 2 calculated signings that reveal exactly how this front office is thinking and, more importantly, how this coaching staff is preparing for the 2025 season. And once you connect the dots, it becomes clear. The Browns aren't just filling out the roster, they're strategically filling key positions with depth and potential. This isn't random, it's tactical. So let's break it down. But first, like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any Cleveland Browns updates. And if possible, let's go Browns! On to the Super Bowl. Now let's get right to it. Starting with a name that should sound very familiar to AFC North fans, Damon Teazi. Yes, Damon Teazi is officially a Cleveland Brown. And if you're a die-hard, you probably remember him from his early days with the Atlanta Falcons. Drafted in the 5th round back in 2017, Teazi has since built a career defined by versatility and impact plays. He's 31 now, not a young buck, but that's precisely why this signing matters. With 63 career starts and stints with the Cowboys and Steelers under his belt, Teazi brings exactly what Cleveland's secondary was missing: veteran experience. Why does this matter so much right now? Let's look at the facts. The Browns lost 3 safeties from last year's rotation. Juan Thornhill, gone, now with the Steelers. D'Anthony Bell, signed by the Seahawks. Rodney McLeod, retired. That's 3 contributors, just gone. And what did the Browns do in free agency or the draft to replace them? Nothing. Not until now. Which brings us back to Teazi. What Teazi gives Cleveland is security. A reliable veteran who can step in if injuries strike. Someone who can play high or low. He's not here to be flashy, he's here to be smart, to fill the void if Grant Delpit or Ronnie Hickman goes down. And speaking of Delpit, let's not forget, he missed most of last season with an injury. He got that well-deserved extension 2 years ago, but almost immediately after, went down. He might have returned for the playoff loss against Houston, but for the most part, his 2024 campaign was cut short. That leaves Hickman and Delpit as the 2 returning staples at safety. Hickman showed promise and is stepping into a starting role. But now, thanks to this move, there's a 3rd safety ready to rotate in. And this isn't just about covering for injuries, this is about fitting Jim Schwartz's defensive scheme. Schwartz loves to run 3 safety sets. He wants flexibility, he wants matchup advantages, and that's where Teazi fits in beautifully. Now, let's flip to the other side of the ball. The Browns added a 2nd player this week, and while he may not have Teazi's resume, the story is just as compelling. Keshan Johnson. That's right, Keshan Johnson earned a spot on the Browns' 90-man roster after impressing during rookie minicamp. And here's the kicker. He wasn't even signed as an undrafted free agent originally. He was a tryout guy, the kind of player who shows up with nothing guaranteed, puts it all on the line, and walks away with a contract. This is what makes football great. Stories like Johnson's. No draft buzz, no media frenzy, just grit. The Browns saw enough in a couple of days to say, yeah, this guy deserves a shot. And honestly, the timing couldn't be better. This wide receiver room is wide open beyond Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman. Those 2 are locks. But who else? Michael Woods? Not a lock. David Bell? Not a lock. Deontay Hardy? Veteran minimum deal, 0 guaranteed money. He can be cut without consequence. Jamari Thrash? Maybe, but he's still a rookie. DeAndre Carter might stick for special teams, but the point is clear. There are roster spots up for grabs. If Johnson shows up in training camp and makes plays, he's got a shot. A real one. And let's talk about Cedric Tillman for a second. Don't let the numbers fool you. His 2024 season showed flashes of what he can become. He finished with 29 catches, 339 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Nothing eye-popping, until you realize that most of that production came in just a 4-week span. He suffered a concussion, likely in a matchup against the Steelers, and missed the last third of the season. But now, fully healthy, with a full offseason ahead, the expectation is that Tillman can emerge as a true threat in this offense. Especially with Amari Cooper gone, someone has to step into that role. Why not Tillman? Now it's your turn, Browns fans. What do you think of these 2 additions? Is Teazi the depth piece this secondary needed? Can Johnson be the surprise breakout of training camp? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'll be watching. And stick around, because in the next video, we're diving into what these signings mean for the Browns' overall roster strategy. Let us know below. Let's take a step back and connect all these recent moves to the bigger picture, because what the Browns are doing right now isn't just about plugging holes. It's about building a layered, resilient roster. Think of it like this. The signings of Damon Teazi and Keshan Johnson may seem minor on the surface, but when you examine the state of Cleveland's depth chart, the logic becomes undeniable. Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski are clearly prioritizing flexibility, experience, and upside in areas that could become pressure points once the season starts. And the deeper you go, the more strategic it all looks. Let's go back to Teazi. His presence allows defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz to return to one of his core philosophies, disguising coverages with 3 safeties. Last year, before injuries shredded the back end of the defense, Schwartz was getting creative. Big nickel packages, rotating safeties post-snap, creating chaos for quarterbacks. That approach requires not just talent, but depth. Teazi gives them the third piece to pull it off again. This is even more crucial when you consider the division. Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and now potentially Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh. All mobile, all experienced, all capable of punishing weak secondaries. So, yes, a veteran like Teazi could be the difference between giving up a 40-yard bomb and forcing a turnover. He's not just insurance, he's a tool in the chess match. On the other side of the ball, the wide receiver room has become a fascinating battleground. The trade of Amari Cooper, whether you agreed with it or not, sent a loud message. It's time for new leaders to emerge. Jerry Jeudy, acquired via trade, is expected to play a big role. But even with Jeudy and Tillman as the early favorites, the rest of the room is a wide-open competition. That's where Keshan Johnson enters with real intrigue. Again, this is a guy who came into rookie minicamp as a tryout, no guarantees, no expectations. And yet, he left with a contract. That's not an accident. The coaching staff clearly saw something. Maybe it was route running. Maybe it was consistency. Maybe it was just effort. Either way, that's how you earn a chance in this league. And given the uncertainty beyond the top 2 spots, Johnson is walking into an environment where an underdog can absolutely rise. Remember the name Jamari Thrash. He's another rookie who could push for a spot, but he's in the same boat as Johnson. Then you've got guys like David Bell, who was once seen as a high upside pick, but hasn't firmly cemented his place. Michael Woods is still fighting for relevance after injuries. And Deontay Hardy? He's got return game potential, but the lack of guaranteed money tells you the team isn't locked in on keeping him. So what happens when a guy like Johnson comes in and starts turning heads during OTAs and camp? It puts pressure on everyone else to step up. That's how you build a competitive culture, by bringing in hungry players who push the pace. Johnson might not be the WR1, but he could become the difference maker that pushes someone like Bell or Woods to another level, or pushes them off the roster entirely. And here's where it all comes together. These 2 signings, Teazi and Johnson, are about more than depth. They're about readiness, about having answers when the inevitable injuries and surprises hit during the season. Teazi gives the Browns flexibility on defense and a steadying presence in the locker room. Johnson brings fresh energy and forces everyone else in the WR room to stay sharp. It's moves like these that separate good teams from great ones. Not because they make headlines in May, but because they give you the right pieces in October, November, and December. All right, Dawg Pound, this is where you come in. We've laid it all out for you. Are you a fan of the Teazi signing? Do you think he adds enough experience to the safety group? And what about Keshan Johnson? Does he have a real shot at cracking the final roster? Drop your takes in the comments. And hey, if you like this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next one. We've got more Browns news coming every week, and your voice matters here. Let's ride into this season together. See you in the next one.